Tucker, it's finally happened. Pikmin 4 is finally real, and we have quite a bit to speculate about it. But before we do, if you want to talk to us about Pikmin, be sure to join the official Backlog Banter Discord in the
Not the
top of the
knockoff one.
description.
There's a bunch of those
No,
floating around
oh
there. You don't
no,
want to
no,
join
do
those.
not join those. But Tucker, I want people to, after they've joined that, join us here.
Yeah.
A little bit of a casual sit back chat about Pikmin. Of course, I'm Abram Buhner. You, as I've said several times, are Tucker Hazel.
Yeah.
And we are here
Cannot
to
stop
do
saying
it.
it.
Finally, on Backlog Banter, talk about Pikmin. It's not true. We've actually talked about Pikmin a number of times before.
Yeah.
A good friend, Dan's Nintendo feed, was actually on here to do that. So check out that video. Might link it, might not. Who knows? But Tucker, we're not
The
here to
wild
talk about the
cards here.
past. We're not even here to talk about the present. We're here to talk about the future, the year 2023,
Yeah.
and my most anticipated game of it,
Yeah.
Pikmin 4.
It's absolutely up there for me as well. And since this game was announced, and we've gotten basically the barest amount of info you can possibly get about a game, which is
Right.
we're changing the camera. And what does that mean? What's the new mechanics of the game? What's the story? What's the scale? When's it coming out? We don't know. But this one change really has gotten our two brains chug-a-lugging, thinking
Sure.
about what possibilities could this bring to Pikmin series to really revamp it. We sort of have a trilogy of Pikmin 1, 2, 3 that are in this what we're now dubbing the classic Pikmin style, and there's a lot of things that could be changed here. My brain has just been a buzz thinking of things I'd really like to see, because I think the world and gameplay concepts of Pikmin are so interesting and versatile that I think they can be applied to something that is more vast and more complex, and I'm really excited to see what changes they do make. What ideas do you have?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I don't really have any ideas when it's not Shigeru Miyamoto. And if it was, I would have made a Pikmin 4 a long time ago.
That's a great... Well, yeah.
And he clearly has been too. Rumors about it being restarted in development, X and Y and Z. It's clear that there's been a lot of care that's gone into making the version of Pikmin 4 that released. This is going to sound silly.
That will release.
The version of Pikmin 4 that deserved to be released, right?
Sure.
Because I don't think it's too difficult to imagine a world wherein the Wii U stayed alive for another 18 months, and Pikmin 4 just dropped on Wii U, and it was basically just a direct iterative sequel upon Pikmin 3.
Yeah.
Which would have been great, because I love Pikmin. I love that
Right.
trilogy of games. I think they're fantastic, fantastic games. An interesting little subversion of the RTS genre, a really consistent technical powerhouse showcase for whatever hardware it's on, right? Lovely personality, so much charm.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think that there's a reason that Pikmin has only ever sold a little bit, right?
Yes.
Pikmin,
very small amounts comparatively.
yeah, Pikmin sells commensurate to the size of its characters, and that is to say, small. And I think part of it is basically minute. I think basically part of that, Tucker, is what I laid out. It's an RTS light.
Yeah.
They were actually talking about some sacred symbols recently. Halo Wars, tied to Halo, one of the marquee video game franchises, one of the best around, objectively. Halo Wars sold very, very soft. There's not a market for this type of game.
Yeah.
And what I was saying is Pikmin as it existed has been perfected, in my opinion, in Pikmin 3, but really in Pikmin 3 Deluxe, which kind of took everything amazing with that Wii U game and then just made it even fuller. I mean, the controls are a little bit worse than Pikmin 3 Deluxe, is what I think, at least. But
we're not talking about that today.
But Pikmin, as Miyamoto conceptualized it in back in the GameCube era, we've done it, right?
Yes.
So I
3
think
times, actually.
Yeah, and now I think the name of the game is to take Pikmin someplace new, someplace a little bit more, I don't want to say mainstream, but a little bit more widely interesting.
Yes.
And
I do think that mainstream is actually the word to use, and I don't mean that as the not prerogative, pejorative. Yeah, not the pejorative that it could be used as. You think about Nintendo, like they're doing things that are up when other things are going southwest. Like, who knows what Nintendo's up to? But I do think that when it is that they take from what the rest of the industry is doing and apply it to their design philosophies, we get really interesting syntheses of things. And I do think
plant reference.
Yeah. No, that's photosynthesis. I think Pikmin is ripe for taking the ideas of things that are more appealing to more people and putting them under the creativity of Nintendo, but just the aesthetic and the charm and being tiny and throwing your Pikmin around and having the weird, like, capitalism background narrative of Pikmin. I think if these things are applied to something that is structured and gameplay-wise more appealing to more people, that the series could really take off, because I don't think it's not lacking in ideas, it's just lacking in broad appeal, and that it is that camera being brought down that really changes why we think that this game is going to be a radical departure from
Yeah,
the classic Pikmin gameplay formula. Is when you're playing Pikmin 1 through 3, you're looking down above everything, you're surveying the environment, but there's
sure.
not a real sense of exploration because you pretty much know what's going on all around you. You know, you might go into a cave, you might go down a path, you might have to build a bridge to see what's on the other side, but because you're looking down from a bird's eye view, you're not really in the action as much. And just
Yeah.
knocking the camera down behind your character and feeling the world sort of tower around you already cuts off your vision in terms of what you can actually see around your character and immerses you more in this world that I think lends itself to more of an adventure game game structure, which I think is very exciting and gives me a lot of ideas.
Yeah, I mean, my thing about it is that you're totally right about everything you said about the camera, and I want
As usual.
to, as usual, and I want to go deeper into that. But I think what you said there at the end about it being more of like an adventure exploration focused game is what I mean when I say I want this game to have wider appeal, but not
Yeah.
mainstream appeal. Because when I think of
Sure.
making Pikmin a mainstream game, I think of Hey Pikmin, which is basically Nintendo saying
Yeah.
franchise that doesn't sell, archetype that does really well for us,
Yes.
stick
True.
them together, and the
Hmm.
result is Hey
How many get?
Pikmin.
All right, we're gonna find out how many get copies that game sold. I doubt it was well.
Samus Returns infamously, sadly, sold about 500,000 copies.
Yeah.
Um, and so I would be surprised if Hey Pikmin even pushed that. But as you're looking that up,
400,000.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay. So terrible, terrible.
Yes. The worst in
That's
the series.
yeah, by far on an install base of like 80 million at that point.
Yeah.
So not good. But that's because I think that it just misunderstood what was special about Pikmin and
Yeah.
everything. But moving the
But we
camera
never played that
down.
game. Let's be categorical
I don't
here.
need to play it. I'm going to be honest with you. I will play it because I'm curious. I think it'd be a compelling discussion, but I don't need to
Yeah.
play the game to know that it misunderstands what Pikmin's
Sure,
about.
sure, sure.
Um, what's cool about moving the camera down is it centralizes what is core to Olimar's journey, Louis' journey, Alf,
Yeah.
Brittany, which is my favorite
Yeah.
pronunciation of any video game character's name. But
Charlie.
what's central to Charlie? What's central to them? It's
Yeah.
exploration. It's scientific.
Exactly.
We're a
From their
little
perspective.
yeah, we're a little alien research scientist explorer on these really weird mystical planets, right? And
Hmm.
walking a mile or probably many miles in their shoes, I think is an inherently really
A pick
compelling
mile.
way, a pick mile, a really compelling way to take that core appeal, what makes Pikmin
Yeah.
special, the charm, the world, the exploration, and reconfiguring that in a way that is going to speak to more people.
Hmm.
And I think that that's just really exciting. Ultimately, I don't really know what direction it's going to go in,
Hmm.
but that very base level notion of moving the camera down fundamentally changes how the game is going to be played because
Yeah.
there's a piece I never wrote many years ago. I was going to be on the lines of like Pikmin could take place in Bowser's castle,
Sure.
and the idea being like Pikmin has beautiful environments,
Yeah.
but doesn't have, and the worlds are aesthetically believable, but they don't really, the aesthetic doesn't go beyond surface level. You
Sure.
could replace a river with the lava of Bowser's castle and the
Yeah.
mountainous regions with like the turrets and the walls and everything, and the game plays exactly the same.
Hmm.
Basically, what I'm saying is that the aesthetic of Pikmin was always just that. It was always just an aesthetic.
Hmm.
And that's fine because the games are beautiful, and I love the idea of Nintendo exploring like quote unquote hyper realism.
Yeah.
But what Pikmin was always lacking for me was this idea that traversing the environment it goes beyond like visually being in an alien world.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
idea that it's not just like a big puzzle box I can look down on and it just so happens to be a natural environment. The idea that we see the Pikmin under a park bench,
Yes.
and the idea
One of the
that
first images we've seen of this
yeah,
game.
the idea that these like everything little bushes and rocks are suddenly not just set dressing
Hmm.
but suddenly things to traverse.
Yeah.
And hopefully there's going to be a little bit more of a physics engine or something. That's something
That'd
Pikmin's
be great.
really lacked. It's always been specific interactable elements, but then the world is just
Yes.
static. So if they're able to nail that, I think it's going to make the game feel so much livelier. And I think that liveliness and being down there and having to really understand how the environment functions is
Yeah.
going to make the gameplay so much richer.
Yeah, and it also will just make the world feel more unique.
Yeah.
I remember the first time that I played a couple of games that sort of ape on Pikmin's "you're small" aesthetic and you're in the real world, which is Unravel, which I think is a phenomenal game, and Grounded, which is kind of the idea of things towering over you in
Yeah.
a human environment. That I found both of those very compelling. Different varying levels of quality, and neither of them are to the level of Pikmin in my opinion. But the idea that being small materially affects you.
Right.
Chopping down a blade of grass in Grounded and having to turn a single blade of grass into planks, phenomenal idea. A dewdrop is enough to hydrate you. And the idea that they're taking the world and placing you in it in a different way than you looking down upon it
Right.
is really compelling for Pikmin. And I think that for me, this isn't based in anything. We're doing baseless speculation here. But I think that what Pikmin could really use with that exploration is a lot more things to find, not in terms of a ton of different kind of collectibles or something, but for each thing you find to have a sort of different purpose. It's because when you're exploring around in Pikmin, you're finding some Pikmin, you're finding some treasure, you're finding some fruit, but they ultimately don't. When you find a tangerine versus an apple, it does about the same thing in Pikmin 3. It does get you juice. And you're playing one of the other Pikmin games, it's treasure, it's worth money, it goes into your ship. That's about it. But I do think that if they expand or if they include within the exploration more areas to find more things that impact the gameplay in material ways, that would be really compelling. And again, I'm just coming up with this fucking spitball in here. We're pontificating about Pikmin possibilities here.
Sure.
I wish that this is my dream Pikmin game. Is you not when you finish the night, you don't go boop off into space and come back down.
Yeah.
You build a little hub base, and over the course of the game, you build up your defenses. You're collecting. Oh, this is a different kind of ore that you can only find in this level, and that allows you to build your defenses and protect them from aerial attackers or something like that. And maybe have the nighttime be a sort of different gameplay mode where you're able to stay in your base or something. Who knows if this is even a good idea for Pikmin, but the idea of taking base building, maybe not like placing down everything like an Ark or a Minecraft, but building up a base, defending it, having different materials mean something different, would really make that exploration in this really interesting world rewarding. Is because you're not just finding a fruit that's going to do the same thing as any other fruit. Oh no, this is only available here, and I'm really excited that I found this specific thing. That makes sense.
Tucker, would we get demonetized if I threatened to kill myself with Pikmin 4 survival game elements? Because I won't do it if we will get demonetized.
I don't think anyone's watching this video that far from YouTube.
Here's my opinion. You're totally right. I think that first of all, I'd really like you to play Pikmin 1 and 2 because I'd be really interested to sort of see how that would change your thoughts on the first part of what you said, but I don't think Pikmin needs to get more complex in terms of what you're finding. Because what's really fun about Pikmin 2, which I'm playing right now in GameCube, is like all of the treasure you find is sparse. There's enough of it to where you're always finding something, but it's sparse enough to when you collect something, it feels really important. And it's got this fun end universe explanation, and certain things you find enhance your ability to explore, and certain things are just set dressing. I think that part of what makes Pikmin so good is that it's a little bit more minimal, and that Pikmin doesn't really play like anything else. Part of my problem with Animal Crossing New Horizons, which is a completely separate can of worms, was that it's like Animal Crossing is one really special thing, but then we added in all this other shit's all over the industry. So I think
a better game.
Sure. I think what you're saying is a totally valid and interesting way to make Pikmin evolve with the times, right?
Yeah.
But I think there's also a very special Pikmin experience that understands that Pikmin is quirky and different, and Pikmin doesn't need to radically change. What Pikmin needs to do is grow and evolve without losing its own spirit. Because I think about like Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild is Aonuma loves Far Cry 4, and that inspired the game, and Skyrim inspired and all of this stuff. I agree. But like, it's not a Western RPG. You wouldn't confuse it for these other games because it went back to its own roots. It said, what can we take from the contemporary industry, but then how can we apply that to Zelda NES?
Sure.
And so my hope is not that Pikmin 4 says, how can we make Pikmin, because Animal Crossing said, how can we make Animal Crossing like Stardew Valley? Which is very reductive, but they're like, how can we make it like these other games? I don't want Pikmin to say, how can we make it more like Ark or like Minecraft or whatever these children are playing in middle school or whatever. I want them to say,
Humongous.
yeah, I want them to say, what, as you're saying, what key elements could we take?
Humongous.
Pikmungus. What key elements could we take like that?
Yeah,
How could we make exploration a little bit more engaged? But how can we retain what made Pikmin 1 so unique and still
mm,
so unique in the console space nowadays? So like there's certain things that I would not want to lose. I don't want to play through the nighttime because I imagine something like this. What
yeah,
if your only glimpse at the planet and the environment around you is as your ship is taking off and you can peer out the side of
sure.
your spaceship and see, oh damn, when I'm this tall, I can't see shit. But when I'm up in the atmosphere, I can look out the window and say, oh wow, look at all of this. And maybe the hub
Mm,
you upgrade becomes your starship. So it's
yeah,
not that the game becomes a survival game on the planet, but it's a hey, let's make the nighttime on the spaceship a phase of gameplay
yeah,
instead of let's make
sure.
day and night all this one big fucking slurry of people on Twitch building shit and all this. I hate survival games. They're dumb. Doesn't make them bad. But this is Pikmin. We finally get a Pikmin game, so I get to talk about it
Yeah,
candidly.
no, of course, of course.
But that's actually you bring up this central tension of bringing back a franchise like Pikmin.
Yeah,
Does it go your way? Does it go my way? That's one of the main things I want answered immediately about this game.
yeah. And of course, we won't know for a little while.
No.
I assume that the next time we see this game is February, March. I don't know. If there's a January Direct, I guess there
Yeah.
might be a trailer in there. But Nintendo, with the last Pikmin game that they put out, which Pikmin 3 Deluxe, they just said, hey, here's a trailer. Didn't really talk about it for a while, then put the game out, and it did good, or did fine, but,
Yeah.
whatever. And I do think that they will be pushing this game a little stronger. I think this is that the amount of reverence that they gave it in that announcement and the sort of
Yes.
sparse narrative that they're saying, like, hey, we're keeping these things the same, but we're changing a little bit up. I think that it shows reverence that I'm excited for them to drip feed us information and
Yeah.
give us a small exploration trailer. Show us maybe one new Pikmin type. Though I do want to say you disagree that they will add any other Pikmin types.
I'm
We'll talk about that
skeptical
in a
of
little
it.
bit.
We'll talk about it.
Have a little story trailer, have maybe an environment trailer, talk about a little mechanic here, a little mechanic there, and then just let the game upon us in
Yeah.
whatever amount of months. I kind of feel like this is a summer game. How does that sit with you?
I mean, yeah, whatever.
Sure.
I don't I don't know. I'm I don't know.
Yeah.
Keep
But
going.
are there any things that are obviously very different from what I'm proposing for Pikmin? Because what
Yeah.
I've just proposed is the perfect Pikmin game, in my
Sure.
opinion. Obviously,
Yeah, sure.
completely disagree with
Yeah,
that.
different strokes.
Different strokes, different folks, a couple guys, up to no
Couple
good.
guys stroking. Keep
Yeah,
going.
yeah. But are there gameplay mechanics that you see in more mainstream games, as you said, a different structure, a different format in terms of how you're approaching Pikmin's world, with those mechanics that appeal more to you while retaining that Pikmin quality that you say mind loses?
I think about, and this is going to be a hypocritical example because it's exactly the sort of game that I don't want Pikmin to be.
Sure.
But something like Astro Near is cool to me. I don't know
What the
if you
fuck is
play
that?
Astro Near. Do you know
Yes,
Astro
yes.
Near?
A survival game.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And I don't want Pikmin to be that, but Astro Near is one really cool mechanic that I think is awesome.
sure.
It's got crazy fucking terraforming. And I
Mm,
think terraforming would be super cool because we
not
have
gonna happen.
or well, what I mean is this: we have Pikmin types that have environmental attributes, right?
Yeah,
You got white Pikmin who can go through poison. You've got red Pikmin who can interact with fire,
yeah.
electricity, water, everything. But what if they could do more than interact with just the gate that corresponds to them?
Yes, absolutely.
But they can fucking knock over a tree or push a boulder down or dig a hole. The whole I don't want the whole world doesn't have to be you can fucking dig and do
Yes,
whatever
yes.
you want everywhere, but deeper interaction like that I think would be
Sure.
awesome. But
Absolutely.
the other thing, No Man's Sky I think is a really good touchstone for a Pikmin game.
Yeah.
Um, insofar as the when I played a lot of No Man's Sky, my favorite thing to do was just scan shit. Was to show up
Absolutely.
on a planet and say, "This, look at this fucking guy over here. What's he doing?" Right? And I go and I'd
Mhm.
scan him and I get my units or whatever the currency was in that game. I
Yeah.
fucking forget. But the idea that Olimar is going to be down there, oh, we don't know. We know that we don't know if Olimar's neat. I'm just going to use
No.
Olimar as a standard. But the idea that you're down there and you're playing as Olimar and he's like, what the fuck is this thing here? And he scans it. That level of interaction with the environment would be super cool, especially
Yeah.
because that's a great way to bring back like the Piclopedia. Because some of the most fun of
Which is
Pikmin,
not going to leave. There's no way this
no,
game does not have a Picklepedia.
but expanding that out in the No
Yeah,
Man's Sky style
absolutely.
would be so fucking cool. Because some of the most fun of Pikmin is being like, what do they call this shit?
Yes.
And it
Yeah.
is especially fun in Pikmin 2 when you're picking up Duracell batteries and all kinds of random stuff.
Branded stuff. Which is not
Yeah,
going to happen in this game.
no.
Frankly, I kind of hope it doesn't happen, though. But, whatever.
It was cool in the context of you're basically on what is ostensibly Earth and
Yeah.
everybody's gone. But those are sort of the touchstones I'd like to have a little bit more interactivity in the environment, your ability to shape it more,
Yeah.
and then your ability to get a little bit deeper into it with No Man's Sky-esque scanning, which is just
Yeah.
Metroid Prime scanning.
Mhm.
So really taking influence from Metroid Prime because it's a better
Yeah.
game than No Man's Sky.
Yeah, I don't disagree there. All these things that you say, I can kind of just subsume and say, hey, let's apply
Sure.
those to my ideas, because I think those two would synthesize very well.
Yeah.
It is what Ashton here does. It is what No Man's Sky does. They take interacting with the environment and scanning things and apply them to something that is more progression based in terms of building and finding unique items and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There are a few more things that we know about Pikmin 4.
Yes.
There's one more thing we know about Pikmin 4, and one thing that you and I explicitly do not want from Pikmin 4. Which one do you want to talk about first?
I'm curious what the thing we don't want is.
The thing we don't want is 4 captains to control.
Oh yeah, it's not gonna.
And I don't think it will happen. But I do think that there's a way that they can make it work a little bit. I do think that having more characters present is a great idea. I think that not controlling more than 2 or 3 max at a time is. I don't want them to surpass that, but I do think that having Charlie, Alf, Brittany, Louis, Olimar all present, maybe some new captains, some other characters that you can meet. I think that would go a long way in building out the world of Pikmin. Because as it stands, there's 5 Pikmin characters. Well, there's 6 Pikmin characters. You got his boss or whatever.
And his family.
There's barely any characters in the Pikmin universe. And I do think that just having little fun people that you can meet in the environment that have their own way of staying safe during nighttime, or another rival group that pop up every once in a while that steal your stuff or something like that. Building out the cast of characters would be really fun, as long as you can have a group of characters staying on the ship, and it is all Alf and Louis and Olimar and all these guys. But please just don't make us be handling 4 of them at once. That would be a little too much.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you only play as one captain at a time in this game, because it's like the multitasking was possible in Pikmin because you were like fucking top down guy, armchair guy. Send them out, check the map, X and Y and Z. Okay, Alf's going over here. We got Brittany going over here, and Charlie's dicking around doing nothing, right?
Well, for you and me, who can't wrap our heads around controlling 3 captains at a time, that's how it was.
No, I whenever I played Pikmin 3, I've never really had the captains go into different shit. It just, to me, the simplicity of moving one captain around is best, and I think that making it more exploration based, moving that camera down, I think is going to make it harder to say let's throw a couple captains around.
I do think that if I hope that they do have these multiple captains that I'm saying, bring back some old characters, make some new ones. I think that giving them different abilities of some sort would be a fun way. Like every night, you can choose which captain to send out.
That's a great idea.
Charlie's can better command some kind of, or he has a better light for caves.
One of them can climb. One of them can
whatever
swim.
it is.
Yeah,
whatever it is, that would be a really fun way to make them more distinct. Because as it stands, Pikmin captains are the exact same. They just control different Pikmin. And I think that would be a really fun way to add some diversity and have you still controlling multiple characters, but not all at the same time.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great idea. I feel in my fucking heart that there's just gonna be one captain, but we'll see. We might as well just mention the Pikmin types thing here for a moment. I mean, we've only seen red, blue, yellow Pikmin. They're the only ones present in the formation of the 4. Now that could very well just be marketing, or it will just be original trailer. But this game to me screams in some way soft reboot. In terms of certain, what Mr. Miyamoto is saying, what sort of this design philosophy changes, some stuff, but it is nonetheless called Pikmin 4. So I think I really think it's a roll of the dice if there's three Pikmin types, or
Mhm.
if we bring back, we bring back rock and winged Pikmin and then maybe white or purple or add another one. I don't know. I think it's a toss up. So
I mean, the reason I disagree is because I don't think that there's a way to make a world that is more immersive, that you are presumably interacting with more, that is more exploration focused, where they don't have something new to capitalize on these mechanics. A new type of Pikmin. You're in a different area. Maybe there's a green Pikmin, maybe there's an orange Pikmin. It doesn't
yeah,
really matter what it is or what their abilities are, but giving a new funny character to A, sell a plush for, but expand the characters that they have available for marketing Pikmin. This is what's new in Pikmin 4. Is this because you look at the box art of Pikmin 2, front and center you got the purple Pikmin, you got the white Pikmin. Is the same thing for Pikmin 3 with the wing Pikmin, the rock Pikmin, and of course rock Pikmin basically are purple Pikmin. Wing Pikmin are very unique. White Pikmin are fucking useless. But I do think that maybe retool a couple of them in small ways, but at least adding one or two more variations, I think would go a long way in making this stand apart a little bit because there's going to be new things for you to interact with. And that's why wing Pikmin were so interesting, or why purple Pikmin were exciting compared to the first three, because they were
yeah.
that little bit different.
I mean that's certainly possible, but
Brown
Pikmin,
Pikmin can dig. Who the fuck knows, you know?
sure. Right, and that's very possible, and we have no evidence. And this is why I don't
Yeah.
like speculation because it's just you think thing and I think thing, and neither of us have any reason to support our claims. But all I'll say is,
Imagine Pikmin breeding. You can get like multicolored
oh
Pikmin or
yeah,
something. Oh my
yeah,
god, that'd be so fun.
I
Collecting Pikmin color varieties. Oh fuck. Oh.
I just, it's like
That's what I wanted Pikmin Bloom to be. Fucking wasn't.
Pikmin kept adding new captains and colors because the gameplay never changed. It
Yeah.
was, but iteration is about let's just add more each time. The game is likely gonna play completely differently now
Yes, I'm
by
sure.
making it more about exploration and everything. And in the game, we're messing around. It's like we're gonna simplify controls and everything. It doesn't seem like far fetched for me to imagine that. Yeah, the world's gonna be way more interactive because you're down lower to it.
Hmm.
And so let's not make the game overcomplicated. Let's bring back to through Pikmin
Sure.
types that are more in depth and do more things.
Yeah.
Both are equally possible. I don't know. Um, anything else we want to speculate on? I suppose.
Well, there's one thing we don't have to speculate on because we know it from what we've
Sure.
seen, but we can speculate on that one thing that we know, which is that presumably from what we have seen, this Pikmin 4 takes place in a
Oh
human
yeah.
world that is more current to what we know as
Right.
the human world, because Pikmin 1 through 3 are so far in the future that everything is degraded and you're just finding a single battery or a bottle cap.
Right.
But there's a full bench, there's a clock
Yeah.
in what we've seen. There's a fence in Pikmin 4's like three stills that exist, and that's pretty exciting. Not only because it allows them to have a little more fun with incorporating like human structures into the environments, which will definitely give it a new flair. But what does this mean for the lore? Who knows? But like
Yeah.
it is just a little bit different. But I think that's very exciting.
Yeah. I think it's very exciting too. I mean, we'll see what it ends up really meaning. Is this a story
Yeah,
set in the far past? Possible.
yeah.
Is this just it's just a story at a time and you're just
Hmm.
Pikmin and it just sticking around in the human world? Who knows? Or it's very possible that there's a different civilization or that's just
Yeah,
a park bench,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
We don't know.
Hmm.
I long since given up the old analysis machine. You know what I mean? So
Sure.
we'll see. We'll see. I'm sure that those scenes are picked deliberately, um,
Mm.
but I just don't know how that's really going to manifest itself on the story level or mechanical level. So
Yeah.
we'll find out. Last thing I just want to say, last wish I have,
Okay. Okay.
I want urgency. I'm playing Pikmin 2 right now. I like Pikmin 2 a lot, but Pikmin 2 is my least favorite of the trilogy because there is no sense of urgency in the game.
Mm.
What makes Pikmin fun to me in large part is even if in Pikmin 3 you're not gonna die, you're not gonna run out of juice, it's not gonna happen.
No.
It
To
was
really fuck up for that to
You have to really
happen.
fuck up. But like in Pikmin 1, it's fun to get a bad ending because you couldn't find all the
Yeah.
ship parts.
Yeah.
That is very compelling. And I want Pikmin 4 to retain that spirit.
Sure.
You can have a game about exploration, but have there be a pressure. It's that pressure
Yeah.
that makes Pikmin part of what makes Pikmin so unique. So Obviously,
I think
Day
that's something
Night's
that's
come
very
back.
easy for them to just
Yeah,
do a mode. Is you're playing it
yeah,
hardcore mode, which adds that sense of urgency, or you're playing it casual mode where you can explore and take your time without feeling that pressure. I think both are
yeah,
equally compelling. I've never played Pikmin 1, so I didn't enjoy Pikmin's gameplay for that, but
yeah,
frankly, that was the reason I never played Pikmin 1. Like I would always watch someone playing it and be like, fuck, there's a daylight thing, and I can what if I miss something? Oh
yeah.
fuck, and that genuinely drove me away from the game. Now I've since grown up. I'd like to try Pikmin 1. That's not going to push me away from it. But I didn't miss that in Pikmin 3 because I was like, okay, I can double check everything. I can make sure I check every nook and cranny, which is for me what is very satisfying about exploration type games.
Yeah.
But those are very easy to have exist in the same game by just having it be a toggle.
No, it's definitely true. I just don't want them to sacrifice pressure or difficulty for more people to play.
Yeah,
And that sounds stupid, but what I mean to say is I want them to do what Fire Emblem does.
yeah,
Fire Emblem plays a certain way,
yeah.
and Fire Emblem is designed around that mode of play. But to have more people in, there is casual mode. There is the fucking tingle tune or whatever you can to go back in time.
Not in Fire Emblem, but
Yeah. The fucking wheel of time you can rewind to go back turns. You know what I'm thinking of? It's in
it's with Sothis fucking powers. Yeah.
yeah, whatever it is. That's what I mean. I
Would
don't
you have been able to name the character Sothis?
No, no way
with
in
a
hell.
fucking knife to your balls.
No. But that's what I mean. I hope that they say we want to have this challenge and
Yeah.
then we want to scale the challenge away for people who don't want it.
Yeah.
I just think that like Pikmin 1 is designed around that idea. And you can certainly make a mode of Pikmin 1 that isn't designed around that idea.
Yeah.
But I think you lose something if you say
Not
the game
anymore. The game's already out, but
right. But I think you lose something if you say the game is not designed around that, but then we're going to try to make it harder. Like the higher difficulty in Pikmin
sure.
3
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
the
yeah.
higher difficulty in Pikmin 3 Deluxe is basically superfluous. It's still not very
Sure.
hard because they're trying to scale up what was
I don't
already
even
not a very
remember
difficult
what
game.
changed, but
Yeah. I never played it that way, but people were like it doesn't actually do that much.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are kind of my hopes for Pikmin 4.
Yeah.
I'm very, very excited for the game. It's my most anticipated game from Nintendo right now. Who gives a fuck about what's that game called? Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
I forget all about it. We got Pikmin 4.
We do have Pikmin 4.
Yahoo!
Oh yeah, yeah!